So tonight we are here to do two things. One, to honor Joe, and two, to look towards the future of community vision. And thankfully, those two things go hand in hand. So to start with Joe, I found an image that I think pretty much sums up Joe's view of life. So for those of you who can't see it, it's a turtle who's fallen on its back, and it's saying, "Oh my God, I'm flying!" Optimism is the best way to see life. And that eternal optimism is part of what Joe used to found Community Vision and provide services that were years ahead of the rest of the field. When others were focused on group homes and sheltered workshops, Joe knew that people with disabilities could have the keys to their own place and support to live life as they chose. He knew that creating this world took courage. He was willing to buck the system that said that people had to be grouped according to disability. He bucked against the medical model that focused on what people can't do. And he bucked against the idea that people weren't ready to be responsible. And he proved it could work. Because of the work of Community Vision, people with disabilities are homeowners. People with disabilities are getting support tailored to them. And people with disabilities are thriving in affordable housing. When others said no, Joe and Community Vision found a way to say yes. Take the example of Tony. Tony was born in 1964. He grew up in Northeast Portland and attended Grant High School and was raised by his father. While Tony had so much to offer, the world wasn't built for him. He found himself living in various institutions like Fairview Training Center and the Oregon State Hospital, where people believed he needed to be controlled and regulated. And that might have been where he stayed, except he met Joe. And Joe saw possibility in Tony. So he helped him out of the institution and into an apartment in Southeast Portland. But Tony had bigger dreams. He loved the neighborhood where he grew up, and he always wanted to have a home of his own. And so in 2000, Joe helped Tony's dream come true. With the assistance of city and federal grants, Tony purchased a home in his childhood neighborhood. He became a frequent garage sailor. He got his hair cut at the same barbershop where his dad used to take him, and he got a job at Nosa Familia and became a fixture in his neighborhood. Here, his neighbors stop by to say hi. He can play his tapes as loud as he wants, and his birds can sing along with him. Tony wouldn't have it any other way, and neither would we. Tony's story reminds us that bucking the system can lead to beautiful outcomes. And while Joe is stepping back, it is time for the rest of us to step forward. Because for every Tony who is living his dream in a safe and affordable home, there are thousands of people who still don't have that option. A 2020 study conducted by Echo Northwest and commissioned by the Cooney Foundation found that there are an estimated 24,000 adults with developmental disabilities who are housing insecure in our region. Many of them want to live more independently, but lack of affordable housing, high poverty rates, lack of understanding the housing needs and preferences, and the exclusion of individuals with lived experience in planning, policy deliberations, and decision-making has led to a system in crisis. Take Rachel's experience. She's a person with a disability who lives on Social Security income. She had debt owed to a previous landlord, which caused her to be denied for housing. So she found herself living on the streets, which gave her additional challenges to navigate. She often had to move campsites due to safety concerns. She repeatedly lost access to a phone and had inconsistent support workers. With support from Community Vision, Rachel was able to finally find an apartment, but the physical and emotional toll of homelessness was long-lasting. Stories like Tony's and Rachel's give us a face to those 24,000 adults who are housing insecure and show us that there's work to be done. Joe taught us that it was possible for people to live on their own, and going forward, Community Vision is working to make this the first option with disabilities. And so, it is my great honor to announce that today, Community Vision is launching the Joe Wykowski Advocacy Fund. The fund will go towards our efforts to challenge the mindsets of decision makers, change the rules that limit people's options, and create more affordable housing and individualized supports in Oregon. Helping to lead these efforts is Alan Hines, he is our Housing Access Director, and he shared with me, "We know there's no shortage of issues that people with disabilities want to address to advance equity and improve our lives. Joe's work shows the possibilities for improving support of people with disabilities, creating homes that are welcoming to everyone, and ultimately changing systems to create the world we want to see. We are eager to continue Joe's advocacy work and advance his vision, where people with disabilities can live, work, and thrive in the communities of their choice." Thanks, Alan. So here are just a couple examples of the work that we are launching. On the statewide housing side, we are working to increase the number of accessible, affordable units that are funded by the state, and doing this in partnership with Disability Rights Oregon and others. On the local level, we're working to educate decision makers about the regional and city level on the benefits of including people with disabilities in integrated affordable housing complexes. And on the services side, we are leading efforts to bolster individualized supports offered to people with disabilities who are living in their own places. As you can see, for us, advocacy is education, advocacy is involvement, and advocacy is partnership. We know these efforts will take leadership, involvement from a variety of advocates, and a lot of hard work. But we believe that now is the time to dig in and continue to buck the system. We are looking for your support because the system does not fund us to change it. It takes all of us coming together to challenge mindsets, change the rules, and create more affordable housing and individualized supports in Oregon. So tonight, we invite you to join with Tony and Rachel and Community Vision to support the Joe Wykowski Advocacy Fund. Because while Joe might be optimistic, so are we.